Hey, welcome back to the Six Figure Mastermind. Thanks for tuning in today. Marianne is here, and we're going to talk how to start your handbag business from home. So stay tuned. So maybe you went through junior high and high school and you really did well in home ec class, or maybe you've picked up a sewing machine and you just have a knack for style. Whatever it is, you're thinking about starting a handbag business from home. There's a couple things that you might not have thought of that you definitely need to be aware of when that comes into play. Let's just walk you through some of those specific steps that maybe you didn't think of before. First of all, you don't have to be a seamstress or a handbag maker to actually sell handbags out of your house, okay? You can do what's called retail, which means you're buying these handbags at wholesale prices and then you're reselling them on e-commerce markets or maybe on Facebook Marketplace or maybe even in trade shows and farmers markets. A lot of people will tend to do that, and they'll go to sites like Alibaba Express or AliExpress.com. You can go and check out the products there, and you can even contact, in many cases, the manufacturer of those products and say, look, I think this handbag is great. I even ordered a sample, but this part I really don't like. I would like for you to create a different prototype for me with this change or this alteration, and then I can sell that one. So that's a great way to get started if you don't necessarily have the time, skill, or talent to use a sewing machine and create your own handbags. If you do, however, I highly recommend, before you really get started pumping those handbags out, is to define your style. What about handbags, and specifically your handbags, makes your brand unique? Do you only work with natural materials? Do you only work with responsibly sourced materials? Do you only work with, just define what you want your brand to be and why people would come shop from you. So you can either start off with your own handmade, you can start off with reselling, either one will work. The first thing you need to do before you actually can create some sales is create an inventory. So this is going to take some considerable time and effort, but here's a little hack for you, okay? If you want to sell your handbags in e-commerce, meaning sell them as products online, you don't have to create 20 bags just to put them on the internet. You can create one or create a prototype that's going to be the bag, photograph it, make sure you've got nice images of that thing, and then put it up there to sell, and then you can make them to order. Now, as long as your customer knows that it's gonna take, a week or two, however long it takes you to make the bag, that's totally fine. What you can also do is kind of a cheat to that hack, it's like a double hack, is create what's called pre-orders. So again, you just make one and then you say, hey, check this out. This bag is just out on our line right now. In fact, I'm taking pre-orders for this bag. It's at a sale price right now. Go ahead and put your pre-orders in. That pre-order is going to be delivered by October 2nd or whenever you decide to have those done and ready. That way you can actually take prepayments for the bags, which will help you in the cost of supplies and the cost of doing business, then create all the bags that have already been paid for and then ship them out when it's time to go. So in the cost of your bags, you also need to consider two things. Is the cost of your bag going to cover shipping and handling? If it is, cool, people don't feel nickel and dime. If it isn't, hey, that's cool too. People don't mind paying for shipping for things that they buy online. That's something that is not very well known, is that people actually don't mind paying shipping. Now, Amazon users, they're not used to paying shipping, so if you do sell on Amazon, I would roll the cost of the shipping into the price of the bag. Just a helpful hint, make the shipping cost a little more than the actual shipping cost that you pay, and here's why. And I'm not asking you to be dishonest. I'm asking you to consider what it takes to ship a bag. You need to consider the cost of materials, the cost of tape, the cost of boxes. If you're driving to the post office, you need to consider the cost it takes you to get there, the time it takes you to get there. All of that is rolled into the cost of shipping so that you are paid for the time it takes to actually get the bag out the door. So for example, if it costs $5 to ship your bag, I would charge $7.50 for shipping because that's going to cover your shipping materials, the time it takes to print out the labels, and the time it takes to drop off the bags at the shipping office. That's called the handling fee, okay? And people just roll it all into shipping now. So it's okay for you, as long as you're charging responsibly, to charge a little bit extra for that. Again, if you're rolling it into the price of the bag, just roll that full thing into the price of your bag. So you want to make sure that you establish profitable pricing. Average retail stores have a 40% margin, which means if something costs $100, the store is making $40 on that item. That's considered a good margin for retail. Now your margin should be at least that much, but it can be a little more as well, as long as the price matches the value that the customer is getting. You're welcome to make a greater margin on. In fact, you probably want to have a bigger profit margin on those, especially as you're starting out and you want to get your business going and pay for supplies that you had to, pay for out of pocket when you first started. So remember that the price of the product needs to be reflective of the value that the customer is getting. In fact, if your customer feels like they're getting more value than what they paid for, you're going to sell a lot more. There's a website that I want you to check out that is a really great example of how to get your bags on e-commerce. My friend Catherine from high school actually created a website called Fit So Swell. You can check out the link in the description. Check out that website. It is a beautiful website. She's got fantastic photography, and she's even made her logo as a little nameplate on all of her bags. I've asked her to do some custom work for me. I can't wait to get my bag from her. You got to go check her out and create something that has a specific feel. When you go to her website, you'll see that that website has a very clean, crisp, high quality look. Handbags are a high quality item, okay? So create something that has your own flavor, your own flair to it, but make sure it looks high quality. Go to retail establishments that has bags in the price point that you want to sell, see how they're marketed, see how they're displayed, see how they're constructed, and do what's called R&D. Rip off and duplicate, right? Duplicate what's working, but give it your own flair. Hey, thanks for tuning in today. Tell me what your favorite part was in the comments below. What was the most useful thing for you? And in fact, if you want to know what it looks like to work very closely with me in building your six-figure business, hit up the link in the description and let's have a chat.